My name is Zoe Clark. I'm Senior Self-Management Programme Officer here at NASS, and today I'm talking about walking with Axial SpA. So there are lots of different benefits for getting out and getting walking. In particular for Axial SpA, it can be really good for pain management and also for your mobility, so loosening up any stiff joints as well as building the strength in the muscles around the joints to help keep you more mobile. You've also got all the sort of usual benefits of walking as well, so not related to Axial SpA, but having the benefits for your fitness, your general fitness levels, your mood. It can be really good mood booster, and also it's a great opportunity to socialise as well, and I touch on that a little bit later on as well. Hi to Gavin and Nicoletta who are joining. Absolutely, Nicoletta's shared that having a dog really helps on every level, getting out for small walks on bad days, absolutely. Feel free to share any dog photos in the comments as well, because we always love seeing those. So if you're not sure kind of where to get started with walking with Axial SpA, either if you've just been diagnosed and you're not quite sure how to get moving, or if you're having a bad flare-up as well, the best place to start is just to start nice and gently and build up gradually. So it's much better to do small amounts of walking or just general activity more frequently through the day, rather than trying to push yourself to do one long walk through the day and then find that it flares up your pain and your fatigue levels. Especially with doing something little and often, we generally find with Axial SpA that when you're still, your pain and joint stiffness really builds up, and then when you're moving, it eases. So actually, by breaking down your walk into shorter sessions through the day, you're getting the benefit because you're not then having long periods resting and stiffening up. You're then breaking up that rest period with the movement to help counter that. And it can be a really great way of getting more activity into your day without impacting your energy levels too. It's really important to find an activity that you find enjoyable as well. So whether that's a particular route that you enjoy doing, or finding a nice pit stop or endpoints. That could be a nice viewpoint if you're out in the countryside. It might be a cafe or a pub to start or finish at, or somewhere halfway along the route, something to aim for. But also having company as well can make it a lot more enjoyable. It can be useful to try something new, particularly if you've been walking for a while and find it helps your Axial SpA, but you're getting a little bit bored with it. Something like Nordic walking could be beneficial to try. So it's a little bit harder work than just general walking. You're using long sticks and really moving your arms and your body a lot more. So it's more of a general workout. It can get really good movement through the shoulders, through the spine, and through the hips. I've linked here to a video that we had a taster session on Nordic walking. It talks about how to get started and all the movements. So do take a look at that if you're interested in trying something new. And then finally, when you're just getting started, really do think about the time of day and understanding what time of day really suits you best. So some people find that in the mornings, they're really stiff and sore. And so actually getting out and going for a walk is a really good way to loosen up. For other people, that can be a little bit too much first thing in the morning, and actually they'd rather have sort of a hot shower or a hot bath, let things loosen up as you sort of potter about the house, and then it may be later in the day that actually you go for that walk. Or if you're like me and you work from home, you may find that lunchtime or early evening is a great time to go, just because then it counters out all that sitting that you've been doing. So have a play around with it, find the time of day that works for you. And of course, as the seasons change, it may well be that the time of day that suits you changes as well. So it's always worth just revisiting that. In terms of footwear, so it's all the general usual advice. So footwear, whether you're out walking in the city or in the countryside, you really want to have good shock absorbency in the sole of the shoe. Do feel free to share any shoes or brands that you recommend in the comments, because it's always great to hear what works for you. If you're going to be walking on rough ground, then it's really important to have really good ankle support to help protect your ankles and reduce the risk of ankle sprains. And then finally, particularly at this time of year, as we're getting into the colder months and things are slippery or may become icy, having really good grip on the shoes is really important. In terms of mobility aids, so these can be really good if you're finding that your pain or your mobility is limiting your ability to get out and about. So if you find that your pain levels are reducing the distance you can walk, or for example, your fatigue levels can reduce the distance you can walk, especially if you find that you like going out in the countryside and there aren't many places to stop and rest. So in these circumstances, you may want to consider using a mobility aid. So this could be something like a walking stick, a crutch or pair of crutches. You can get roller walkers and also folding seats, which you can take out so you can have a rest anywhere where you need to. If you're considering this, then do speak to a physiotherapist or occupational therapist for really personalised advice, because they'll be able to recommend exactly what will be helpful for you. And in some areas, they can provide the equipment for you as well. And I've linked here to a previous session that we did all about mobility aids. So do have a look there if you're interested in learning a little bit more. And lots of people find that their pain can restrict the amount of walking that they can do, either because they feel the pain during the walk and then that limits them, or they find that it flares their pain up afterwards. So just try and have a plan together, looking after your pain levels, both during the activity and also afterwards as well. So this could include medication, but also don't forget about all those non-medication pain relief items, such as TENS machines and heat pads, or ice packs if you find that ice is better than heat for you. So it can be that you can take medication before going for a walk to help it feel more comfortable, as long as it's not reducing the pain so much that you're sort of ignoring the signals from your body and you're then overdoing it. Then after the activity, make sure that you plan in some time to do all the things that help reduce any stiffness or soreness that you feel after walking. So that might be a TENS machine, it might be a heat pad or having a hot bath, anything that just helps release that pain and soreness. But it is totally normal to get mild aches and pains after activity, particularly if you're just getting started with walking and building your distances up. Any mild aches or pains that last about 24 hours are completely normal. If they're lasting longer than 24 hours, or if they're really severe and disrupting your sleep, then do speak to a healthcare professional for advice. And then keeping motivated, this sometimes can be even harder than getting started. I'll admit that I get into a really good routine sometimes with getting out and getting walking, and then suddenly I just lose that motivation, usually when the seasons change like now and it's grey and cold and I just want to stay tucked up inside. But you do find that if you build up your energy level, your activity levels each day, it does help with your axial SpA. So it's worth looking at different ways that you may be able to keep motivated. So we mentioned earlier that friends and family can be really key, because really it takes your mind off the walking. You're not doing it as an exercise, you're doing it to get out and socialise, particularly if you do the idea of having a pit stop, so a cafe or a pub you can stop at partway round or at the end of the route. That's a really good motivator as well. You may like to set yourself a goal or a challenge. So it might be that you want to go walking for 10 minutes every day this week, or it might be that you want to go a certain distance that week. Sometimes setting a goal or challenge that is realistic and achievable for you, but pushes your boundaries a little bit, can be a really good motivator to keep going, particularly on those days when you're a little bit more sore or don't feel like doing it. And as mentioned in the comments, having a canine friend, so a dog, can be really helpful. Lots of people do share that their dog really helps, because even on those bad days or on the days when the weather's not so good, your dog's there ready, waiting to go out. You don't really have much choice. So it's a really good way of ensuring you get walking. And there are lots of things like websites and apps where you can take other people's dogs out for a walk as well. So if you don't have a dog of your own, that might be an option as well. And then finally, I'll tell you a little bit about the NASS Winter Walk, which you may have seen across our social media, or if you're signed up to our e-newsletter. So this is a really great way of helping to motivate yourself to get walking and keep up with it as well. It's also a wonderful way to not only raise awareness of axial SpA with friends and family, but also raise vital funds for NASS over this winter. So simply you sign up online on our online registration form, and you set your own goal. So it can be how far you'd like to walk, and you can join as a team or as an individual. You then set yourself a fundraising goal. It doesn't have to be huge, just whatever you're comfortable with or feel like you are comfortable raising, and then simply get walking. So it might be that you do a gentle stroll each day. It might be that you get the family and go out for a longer walk at the weekend. It all adds up. And then we do recommend that you share your fundraising page with friends and family, as I said, not only to raise awareness of axial SpA, but also awareness of NASS and hopefully some vital funds for us too. And the fundraising team ensure that if you raise £20 or over, you'll receive a NASS t-shirt and a dog bandana as well. So these are always really popular. And if anyone's got a dog bandana and a photo of their dog in it, please do pop it in the comments, because we love seeing those. So I've put the link there to the winter walk. So if you'd like to learn more or you'd like to sign up, please do follow that link. I'll also pop it in the comments after the live session as well. But it's been really lovely seeing everyone's photos on social media already of them getting out and getting walking. So that was my very quick introduction to walking with Axial SpA, all about the benefits, how to get started and how to keep motivated. So we have plenty of time for any questions, so I'll stop sharing my slides there so you can see me again. And if you're watching on catch up, I will keep an eye on the questions over the next few days, so I can always answer any following then. I'll keep an eye out. And while I'm waiting for any questions to come in, I'll let you know our next Facebook Live session is going to be on Wednesday, the 29th of November at 6 p.m. I'll be joined by physiotherapist Rachel Lewis, and we're going to be talking about hypermobility in Axial SpA. This is something we get quite a few calls about on the helpline. It's quite a sort of common area that people may have hypermobility and Axial SpA. So it's going to be a great session really covering what hypermobility is and how you can manage both conditions at once. Wonderful. So I'll give you all just another minute to see if there are any questions there. As I said, I'll keep an eye on those over the next few days, and you can also email me at any time. My email address is zoe@nass.co.uk, so you can always send those over. Nicoletta has asked, she'd love some advice on how to keep warm or what gloves to use as they struggle to get the right warmth in their hands. So anybody watching, if you've got any gloves that you recommend, please do pop them in there. I'll say from my experience, I found that compression gloves can be a little bit better because they're quite a thin material, but they have really good sort of heat insulation as well. Also, a nice option is mittens, where they have sort of the cut-off fingers, but then you can pull them over. So it's quite good if you find that then you're getting too warm, you can then take the cover off the fingers, and then if you're colder, you can put them back on. So it's worth experimenting with those as well. But please, if anyone's got any recommendations, please do pop them in the comments. And I'll also reply to your comment with a video we've got talking about hand pain, just in case there's a few tips in there that'll be helpful for you. And Sally's asked, any views on Vivo barefoot shoes? Yes, these are a little bit like Marmite. It's a bit like when we talk about mattresses with people with Axial SpA. Some people, swear by one type and some people swear by another. But barefoot shoes, some people absolutely love them. If you are going to try them, I'd recommend starting really gradually. Try wearing them on much softer ground because they can be a little bit firm to begin with, particularly if you get issues with plantar fasciitis or any sort of pain in the heel or the sole of the foot, because they do remove some of that cushioning. But what can happen over time is that as you're wearing them, it helps build up the intrinsic muscles in the foot. So then it strengthens the muscles around all the tiny joints that we have in the feet. So they can be helpful long term, but if you are trying them, just start nice and slowly and build up. And if you need any advice on them, then do speak to a podiatrist as well. So I hope that was helpful, everyone. And yeah, if you've joined partway through, then once the live has finished, this will be available to watch the full video on our Facebook page, and I'll also add it to our YouTube channel afterwards. So any last questions from anyone? I'll give you a bit of time. And I'll share the slides from the presentation in the comments afterwards as well, with the links to the resources and the other videos that I mentioned, and also a link to our newsletter as well, where you get all the information about our upcoming Facebook Lives in there. So if you'd like to keep up to date with the sessions that we're running, do sign up to our e-newsletter. Wonderful. So it's been great to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll hopefully see you next time. So that's Wednesday, the 29th of November at 6 p.m. I'll be chatting with Rachel Lewis, physiotherapist, about hypermobility and Axial SpA. So lovely to see you all today, and hopefully see you then.